Hello everyone, welcome back to Where in the World, a series here on Go Westeros. In this episode, just like we did last time, we will be looking at 3 minor houses of Westeros, what they've been up to, where in the world they are, and how they pertain to the overall story as it's being told. In the last episode, we looked at houses Presta, Tallheart and Mooton, and this time, we will be looking at House Cassel of the North, House Florent of the Reach, and House Estermont from the Stormlands. At this point, I should mention that this does contain spoilers for all 5 novels of A Song of Ice and Fire, so if you're not up to date, I wouldn't continue on much further. I'm Jack, and let's dive right into it. House Cassel, or Cassel, are a minor house in the north in service to the Starks at Winterfell. Their sigil is 10 grey wolf heads on a grey shield bordered by black. Their words are not known, and interestingly enough, they do not have their own castle when they live at Winterfell. They are, as I said, they are in service to the Starks. There are a few known members throughout the timeline of A Song of Ice and Fire, including Sir Roderick Cassel, who is the Master at Arms at Winterfell, his daughter Beth, and his nephew Jory, who is the Captain of the Guards. There is not a lot of history of House Cassel, which leads me to believe that they are a relatively young house. Martin Cassel, Jory's father, Sir Roderick's brother, fought alongside Eddard Stark at the Tower of Joy in the Red Mountains of Dawn. He was killed by one of the 3 Kingsguard knights. Eddard buries him there. Martin had 4 sons, yet only Jory lived to be adulthood, and Jory attended Ned and Catelyn Stark's wedding at Riverrun. It is noted that he tore Catelyn's dress in the bedding ceremony. Martin's brother and known character, Sir Roderick, has been married 3 times and has only had daughters. By A Game of Thrones, Beth is the only surviving daughter, sort of mirroring Martin and Jory there. We are first introduced to House Cassel in the first book, A Game of Thrones. Jory is mentioned as the Captain of Guards and Roderick is the Master at Arms. Jory travels south with Eddard and the royal contingent to King's Landing when Eddard is named Hand of the King. Jory is a participant in the Hands tourney, defeating Horace Redwine and a member of House Frey. He is later defeated by Lothar Brune after 3 tilts. Jory is later killed by Lannister men in the streets of King's Landing. His body is sent north to be buried next to his grandfather. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Sir Roderick accompanies Catelyn Stark southward to King's Landing, so they make that journey as well, and then he later returns to Winterfell after being named Castellan of Winterfell by Lady Catelyn. In a clash of kings, Sir Roderick departs to take care of the Hornwood inheritance after Lady Danella Hornwood is kidnapped by Ramsay Snow. Later in the book, after the Ironborn have taken the north, he breaks Dagmar Cleftjaw's shield port at Torrhen Square and ends the siege of the Ironborn. Meanwhile, Theon Greyjoy uses Beth Cassel as a hostage to prevent her father, Roderick, from storming Winterfell. He does try, and in an attempt to retake the castle, Sir Roderick is slain by Ramsay Snow. We hear nothing of House Cassel until A Feast for Crows, when we learn that Beth is a captive at the Dreadfort. House Florent of Brightwater Keep is a noble house from the Reach. They are one of the main houses of the house sworn to House Tyrell. Their sigil is a red fox head encircled by lapis lazuli flowers on an ermine field. Members of the house are known for their prominent ears. Brightwater Keep sits near the source of the Honeywine River, north of Honey Holt, east of Bandolin, and southwest of the Mander. Known Florents throughout A Song of Ice and Fire include Lord Alistair, Lady Melara, his wife, originally of House Crane, their son and heir, Alakine, their eldest daughter, Melessa, who is married to Lord Randall Tarley, his second daughter, Rhea, who is married to Lord Leighton Hightower, his brother, Sir Axel, his second brother, Sir Rhyme, Sir Rhyme's daughter, Selyse, Stannis' wife and queen, Rhyme's son and Queen Selyse's brother, Sir Imry Florent, Rhyme's second son, Sir Aaron, Lord Alistair's third brother, Sir Colin, and Sir Colin's children, Delena and Omer, who is a maester at the Citadel. There are 2 more, Colin's other son, Merrill, and finally Lord Alistair's last sibling, Rylene. So, quite a lot of them. There are a numerous bunch there. According to legend, the Florents, the Bulls, and the Peaks of the Reach descended from 3 husbands of Floris the Fox. They claim descent from House Gardiner, the extinct king of the Reach. They have the superior line of descent and believe that by rights they should possess Highgarden. Sir Duncan the Tall, the main character of the Duncan Egg Tales, was previously in service to the Florents before the events of his stories. In more recent history, Lord Tywin Lannister offered Delaena Florent his son Tyrion as a husband. After she had been despoiled by King Robert, her father marries her instead to Hosmond Norcross. We are introduced to House Florent in Book 2, A Clash of Kings, through Selyse, of course the queen of the newly crowned Stannis Baratheon, to whom she is lovelessly married to. Selyse has devoted herself to the Red God, Red Ruler, when the Red Priestess Melisandre joins Stannis' court. When the War of the Five Kings breaks out, the Florents follow House Tyrell in declaring for Stannis' younger brother Renly, despite Selyse being Stannis' queen. They field roughly 2,000 men, a larger proportion of whom are cavalry. Upon Renly's death, the house switches to Stannis, giving Queen Selyse more influence over her husband than ever before. They are the most significant house from the Reach to defect to Stannis. Lord Alistair's nephew, Sir Erron, is one of the knights that Stannis sends to recruit Renly's infantry at Bitterbridge, but he is captured by a grieving Sir Loras Tyrell. However, Lord Alistair's son-in-law Randall Tarley puts Florent men to death to make sure they do not go to Stannis' side. Renly is a staunch supporter of the Tyrells, their liege lords. And, by the way, we will be covering the Tarleys in a future episode. Lord Alistair is with King Stannis during the parley with Sir Cotnay Penrose, who refuses to yield Storm's End or his ward, Stannis' bastard nephew, Edric Storm. Edric is the bastard of King Robert and Queen Selyse's cousin, Delaena Florent. Edric is recovered in the end. On Dragonstone, Lord Alistair joins his niece Selyse and his brother Sir Axel in fervently following the Lord of Light. With Axel having served for many years as Castellan of Dragonstone, the Florent contribution to Stannis' cause is great. Sir Imry Florent is given command of Stannis' navy in the Battle of Blackwater. He relies on the size of his fleet and does not send scouts ahead, a poor move, because almost his entire force is destroyed by wildfire, and he dies along with most of his men. Despite Imry's bungling and the impressive defences of King's Landing, Stannis does seem within sight of victory. However, the Florents' rivals, the Tyrells, arrive with Tywin Lannister from the south. The result is a rout, but most men are picked up along the shoreline by Salladhor Sand's Lycian fleet, and a lot of them wear the badge of Brightwater Keep of the Florents. In a storm of swords, following the Lannister victory, Lord Tywin dispossesses the Florents of their holdings and awards Brightwater Keep to Sir Garland Tyrell, Lord Mace Tyrell's second son, as an award for his service. As a result of the Battle of Blackwater, House Florent commands more than half of Stannis' 1,500 men on Dragonstone, so a lot of his men got killed, and now most of the remaining ones are Florent men-at-arms. Lord Alistair is named Stannis' Hand of the King. Alistair and Selyse rule in his name during Stannis' self-imposed silence. However, when Alistair plots to wed Princess Serene to Prince Tommen Baratheon in an attempt to make peace, he is thrown in the dungeons. Upon his return to Dragonstone, Sir Davos Seaworth is arrested by Sir Axel Florent. Davos intends to murder Melisandre. Axel counts Stannis to put Claw Isle to the torch. Stannis dismisses this idea and names Davos as his hand instead. When Stannis decides to journey to the Wall, Melisandre burns Lord Alistair alive to obtain favourable winds for the voyage. So a powerful lord is no match for the Red God. And at the Wall, Jon Snow spots their banners, as does Sam Tarly. In the Feast for Crows, the new Lord Florent is Alistair's son, Alakine. He has taken refuge in Old Town, where his sister Rhea is the Lady of Hightower. In the Dance with Dragons, Stannis leaves Sir Axel and Queen Selyse at Eastwatch by the Sea. Axel begins calling himself the Hand of the Queen. They travel to Castle Black on their way to the Night Fort. She betroths Sir Axel to the eldest daughter of Gerrick Kingsblood in a way to help integrate the wildlings into the kingdom and help Stannis' cause. Elsewhere in the Reach, Sir Colin Florent remains Castellan at Brightwater Keep in defiance to its new lord Garland Tyrell, although Sir Erron remains a prisoner at Highgarden. So there's numerous Florents doing numerous things, and that ends their involvement in the Song of Ice and Fire so far. It's quite a detailed story of the Florents. I imagine they're going to continue playing the same part in the upcoming books. House Estermont is a noble house sworn to Storm's End of the Stormlands. They are a principal noble house. They rule the small island of Estermont east of Cape Wrath. Their sigil is a dark green sea turtle on a pale green field. Their house motto, their words, are unknown. They rule the island of Estermont from their castle of Greenstone. 9 members of House Estermont include Lord Eldon, his son and his heir Sir Aemon, Sir Aemon's son Sir Alan, Sir Lomas Estermont, who in some sources is Lord Eldon's brother, and in others he is Eldon's son. So a bit of conflict there. Conflict. Sir Andrew is Lomas's son. There is a possibility. There is a possible former Lord of Greenstone who was an ancient man, and the wiki says he would have died in 300 AC, which is the year by the end of A Dance with Dragons. The family tree of House Estermont is uncertain as of right now. George would likely have to clear that up in the future. It is yet unconfirmed if the Estermont are of First Men or Andal ancestry. Many of the First Men of the Stormlands married with the Andals, so it's likely that the Estermonts did as well. Sir Duncan the Tall in the Hedge Knight novella watches Sir Gunther Estermont ride in the lists of the Ashford tourney. In more recent history, Robert Baratheon spends a fortnight on Estermont during his reign. His mother was an Estermont. He bedded a widowed cousin at Greenstone, and it is at Greenstone where Cersei claims she and Jaime conceived Joffrey. We are introduced to House Estermont in A Clash of Kings. In the outset of the War of the Five Kings, Lord Estermont, who is possibly Lord Eldon, declares for his kinsman and liege lord Renly Baratheon. The Estermont sea turtle is seen by Catelyn in Renly's camp. When he is preparing for battle against Stannis, Renly decides that Lord Estermont would command the reserve of his army. They turn to Stannis after Renly's death. At the parley with Sir Courtenay Penrose, Lord Estermont recommends against storming the walls of Storm's End, believing it would cost too many lives. He suggests a one-on-one duel against Sir Courtenay. He refuses to turn to the Lord of Light and fights under the crowned stag instead of the Flaming Heart banner. Estermont men fight in the Battle of Blackwater. Aemon, Alan and Lord Estermont are made prisoner and bend the knee to King Joffrey. Lomas and Andrew Estermont escape the battle and lead part of the Greenstone men in remaining loyal to Stannis. In A Storm of Swords, Lord Estermont is a guest at Joffrey's wedding. He declares at Tyrion's trial that he saw Tyrion pick up the chalice as Joffrey was dying and pour the rest on the floor. We see that in the show. Of course, Lord Estermont wasn't there, that we know of. Sir Andrew Estermont helps Davos smuggle Edric Storm out of Dragonstone. He sails with the boy and becomes his escort. The Estermont banner is seen at Castle Black when Stannis goes north. In A Feast of Crows, it is reported to Cersei that Lord Eldon has married Silva Stantagar. Unknown to those in the capital, this was punishment for Silva's part in Arianne Martell's attempted coup. Of course, she wanted to put Marcella Baratheon, Princess Marcella, on the throne and have her Dornish influence. Our only known info of House Estermont from A Dance with Dragons is that Mark Mandrake takes the island of Estermont during the landing of the Golden Company in the Stormlands. And as we wrap up on House Estermont, we wrap up on this episode of Where in the World. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found at least some of what I said helpful in your quest to gain as much knowledge of this world as possible. Remember to find me on Twitter at GoWesteros. Drop me a comment, a tweet, some advice, some criticism, or just say hello. It would be lovely. I've been Jack, again, your host, and I'll see you all later.